I'm going to welcome our great friend, radio host, columnist Pete Price. How are you, Pete?
Good morning.
Oh, what are you wearing there?
Nice, isn't it?
Yeah. What's that? What's that? It's like a school uniform.
Well, yes, I thought I'd wear a shirt tie for you, but this time it's too early.
Now, I gather you've had problems with bees.
Problems with bees? My life's been upside down. I'm in a penthouse. There's the roof. They've just removed 100,000 bees. £5, £6 in weight of bees. They decided, come to my house. There is the cones.
Oh.
They brought out 16 cones out of my roof, which they did in 3 weeks. There he is on my roof, looking over to Liverpool. I can't tell you. It's been the most horrendous journey, and it's cost me 1,200 quid.
1,200 sounds like a bargain to remove 100,000 bees, I must say. So where have the bees gone? Are they okay?
They are safe. They are safe, and look at that. There's a £1,200 jar of honey from my roof. That's where it came from. But no, what we're doing is they're going to a charity, and the money for the honey is going to the Whitechapel sector, which is for homeless people.
Would you have considered, basically, I mean, you've become a beekeeper without wanting to be, but would you have considered leaving them up there? Could you have done that and just taken the honey every few months?
No, because it's a flat roof in a block of flats, and it's such a big roof. If they've done that much damage in 3 weeks, can you imagine if we'd have left them there, what would have happened? It really is, joking, quite scary. There are the bees on my bedroom window in the morning when I first saw them going into the little hole. There is a gentleman who lives up the road who's had problems with bees. He's got honey seeping through his bedroom walls.
Wow. It's absolutely amazing. Did you see the Queen come out? Because I know the thing is they've got to get the Queen and then everyone follows. Is that right?
Well, I had a gentleman called Tom who was a pest control, and Fred, the beekeeper, and the Queen, he assured me, was inside the box. No bees were hurt at all. What has made me laugh is they blocked the hole up, and we've had worker bees coming back going, "Aye, where is everyone? How can I get in my home?"
Anyone had a bee infestation?
By the way, Jeremy,
yes.
Jeremy, I've got to tell you, the fish tank behind me, I was at a function the other week, and a man came up to me and said, "Will you please send a video to my daughter?" And on the video, I have to say, there are real fish in my fish tank, because she saw it on Jeremy Vine.
Great, no, well, that's important. Anyone else had a bee infestation?
No.
No.
I did, yeah, okay, I did have one. Nothing on that scale, but they were, I thought it was a large kind of buzzing pineapple that was in my backyard.
That happens.
But it was just a collection of bees, and this guy came in a full hazmat suit, a bit like your one, Pete, and he basically got it down. But the bizarre thing was, it was a summer day, and he said, "Can you hold my ladder?" And I was wearing shorts and a t-shirt. I got on the top of the ladder, and the guy he starts to jiggle it, and this thing is like a cloud of bees. I'm surrounded, but I've got no protection at all. And he's wearing the full...
You should have said, "Hold your own ladder."
but in fairness, they didn't do anything. They are very benign bees. You just don't want them making honey in your roof.
No.
So look, Pete, stay with us. In the Telegraph and LBC as well, online, and in fact on lots of places, there's this issue about catcalling. And is Liz Truss, I think, is making a headway, saying that you're going to make catcalling a criminal offence. What do you think about this, Dawn?
Well, look, in theory, it's a great idea, because every woman should be able to walk down the street without anyone sort of wolf whistling or, you know, "Right, darling, cheer up, might never happen," all that sort of thing. However, you know, have we got enough sort of like police and, you know, enough court space to deal with this sort of thing? And who's deciding on what is, you know, there's a generation thing here, I think, Jeremy. Women of a certain age, my age probably, just shrug it off. It's not, you know, a wolf whistle, probably flattered at my age. However, I completely get that younger women might feel intimidated and might feel threatened by it. So in theory, it's a good thing. And Rishi has also come out with another add-on to this, almost trying to trump, I think, this, by saying that down blousing is almost going to be a criminal offence. Now, I didn't even know this was a thing, but it's similar to upskirting.
You heard about this, Sally, down blousing?
No, down blousing, upskirting. I mean, I have to
Can
say.
we explain what that? So the upskirting is photographing up somebody's skirt, very bad. Down blousing is, I don't know how you would do this without someone noticing. It's photographing somebody's cleavage, I guess.
I mean, that all sits in what I think is really, unacceptable behaviour that women and men, anyone should not have to put up with. And and she has said about persistent wolf whistling, so repeat offenders. But I agree with Dawn. How in a perfect world, how are you going to do it? We've had 23,500 police staff jobs cut since in England and Wales since 2010. I mean, police community sport officers in one area, Norfolk, it's fallen by 100%.
Well, so they haven't got any.
No,
any
no
left.
PCOS. Yeah, how are you going to do it? But yes, I mean, I as a teenager, in my early 20s, definitely not happening now. I had it, and it was awful. I hated it.
And when you say you had people whistling and stuff.
Well, I mean, I remember, this has made me think about a story. When I was about 17 years old, I used to have to do the school run for my little siblings, and there were builders at the end of the street, and they made my daily walk to pick my siblings up a misery, to the point that I used to have to go the long way round just to avoid it.
That's not good, Pete, is it?
It's not good. And I mean, I as a gay man, I get it. I'm very, very well known in Liverpool, and I get abused like that. But there's a serious side to this article, as well as those whistling and catcalling, because it then talks about domestic violence, which has got to be dealt with. And they're talking about giving police training to help with this. But how you stop people on the street wolf whistling, I do not know. And also trying to ask people out. It's talking about that. So if I say, I'm a gay man, but excuse me, young lady, I find you very attractive. I was straight. Ooh, is that wrong?
Well, the other thing it says here, they're going to outlaw leering and intrusive staring. How do you define that?
I shouldn't do that.
How do you do that? Have you got a photograph of it? Is that a really criminal offence?
On the London Tube now, you have sort of like aggressive sexual staring. Is wrong, don't do it. And it's like, you look at it and you go, well, I'm not entirely sure what qualify. I mean, with really obvious stuff.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
And have the police got enough to do?
Well, quite.
There's not enough of them.
Okay, Doc Salia has a story, hospital related, ITV News, and they have filmed patients stuck on hospital trolleys for days. I hope we can see some pictures of this. Because this is all about the way that ambulances are backing up, isn't it, Salia?
Absolutely. I mean, the very, very, very first film because I make films, the very, very first film I made, series of films I made, was in 2013, because this brought it all back. And I ended up looking back at the films that I made in 2013 about a hospital in special measures in Rockford. And it was pitched as the existential threat that was facing emergency medicine departments. 10 years on, it's the same.
It looks to me, looking at that, you have this classic thing where a lot of those patients probably should be in a care home, but there isn't a place for them. The care home is the hospital corridor, Andrew.
Part of the problem. There's nowhere to send them home to, so they become bed blockers.
Do you know we have an £8 billion shortfall in social care? That's part of the issue. And if we compare ourselves to the rest of Europe, we are so low down in the way that we manage.
The government hasn't got any money. They spend it all on furlough. I don't know. It's miserable, Pete, isn't it? You're always thinking we should try not to grow old.
I agree with you completely and utterly, and it's a very worrying time. But I've just done an award ceremony for the NHS for Wiston and St Helens Hospital, the trust up there. And those nurses, doctors, and everybody from there deserve those awards they got. But what is upsetting me about these pictures are, we know that many beds are full of patients and they don't know where to put them. Yeah. They haven't where to put them because there's no homes out there. We have terrible staff shortages. It's incredibly worrying, and this frightens me. It is so sad to see.
Of course, the other thing we don't see on this is that when the ambulance arrives with someone who has to get into the hospital quickly, it has to stay parked outside, and the ambulances then are parked in a line.
Yeah.
And I've had calls from people who said that they've been in an ambulance for 12 hours
Yeah.
or more. And that means the ambulances then aren't there to respond to calls. So the backup goes all the way through to someone ringing 999.
Yeah.
When you're
You
on
know, all of this is your bread and butter.
when you're on a shift and it's like that, you are running around like a headless chicken, and first and foremost, your head is patient safety and making sure that you are not missing anyone. And patients deteriorate. So everyone is so super stretched. That is an incredibly stressful situation. I mean, I've been in the army, I've done A&E. My God, well, my job in A&E trumps anything that I've ever done in the military. And we're seeing patients like that who could be your own relatives, you know, the dignity, the lack of humanity, it really takes its toll on everyone. It's awful.
Andrew's got a story in The Sun about Prince Harry wanting this protection from the Met, and he fought a legal case, and we're getting the cost of it now.
Yeah, look, Harry wants to have access to the military, the Royal Protection Officers when he comes back to Britain with his family. The Home Office say you can't just pick up the phone and have what you had before. He's even willing to pay for it himself, and it's all gone to court. The taxpayer share already is £100,000, and this is going to go on. I do think this is. It's quite. They could have sorted this out, because we know when Harry is in the bosom of the royal family, such as when he was over here for the Queen's Platinum Jubilee, he was protected by all the protection officers. It was the most protected place on the planet.
Because he was with the royal family.
Because he's with the royal family. So, and if he comes, and I don't think he's going to be coming here on holiday anytime soon, is he? He's got armed protection officers in the United States, which he has to pay for. I just think this is another indication of how sad it is, the way things have slumped between Harry and his old family.
Pete, Liverpool Echo story. Of course, your column. Tell us what you're writing about.
This week it's Gay Pride in Liverpool on Saturday, and there's the march. And I wrote a column this week about my experiences. I was very upset. In the papers recently, there was a letter, a handwritten letter, published from Justin Fashanu, who was, of course, the footballer who committed suicide many years ago. And he was a very tortured soul. And he turned to the church to try and be cured of being a homosexual. And I wrote about this because of Pride, because I want people to be reminded about conversion therapy and aversion therapy, which is what happened to me. And when I was 18, I was put into a mental institute to be cured of being gay, because I was a criminal, and it was a criminal offence to be what I was. And it was the most dreadful time of my life. And I wanted to remind people that these things are still going on. It's still not been totally eradicated. And I just then say at the end, please, why can't we live together? Why can't we just accept who we are?
So when you, at the age of 18, you were given treatment, were you, for being gay?
I was given the cure. I was tortured for 7 days under a false name, so I didn't think I'd ever get out alive. I won't describe what they did to me because of the time of day, but it was torture beyond belief. But in the medical world, it was going to help me be cured of being a homosexual.
Andrew Pierce, you must be glad you were born a bit later than I.
So am. I've got a horrible feeling I know what they might have done to Pete, but it is.
I don't listen. I don't. Do you know what I did? I don't know. Are we hinting at electrodes?
Electrodes, yeah. And Pete will know that there is still conversion therapy out there. A lot of it is promoted through certain churches, and there are moves now to ban it and make it illegal and good, because it's barbaric and inhumane.
I mean, before the tragic story of Justin Fashanu, we watched the film, didn't we? Alan Turing, the man that we owe so much to, who, you know, my iPad, you know, what he did for us, World War II, and he went through that. Wasn't that lesson enough?
Yeah, he was chemically castrated.
It was awful.
For having sex with a man in his own home, because it was illegal at the time. And in the end, he killed himself. One of the great heroes of the Second World War.
Well, and you go back to Oscar Wilde, another person, you know, treated the same way.
Yeah.
Dr. Sonia, we've got actually, I tell you what, let's look at the film of this. So this is on a thing called Yap app, and it allows people to upload films, which obviously most of the internet does. But what's amazing is you're going to see, just take a look, a woman has got her dog, and it's just, I think, basically having a moment to relieve itself. And right, we need to see this again. Watch, see where she is, and the dog says go. And this is in the UK. What that driver's doing is out of control. He just pulled. It's amazing, Sally.
It's absolutely incredible. We don't fully understand what animals know, their sixth sense, whatever it is, but we owe them so much, don't we? I mean, that's extraordinary. That would have been.
I've saved her life.
Absolutely, without doubt. Without doubt.
She is. Oh,
all that.
Well, I bet he's got some massive treats because.
Yeah.
You just need to know what the driver's doing. I mean, what is it, on the phone or what? Pete, that's amazing.
It is indeed. And what I learned after 50 years of late night phone-ins is that animals are loved far more than humans. I've had people uncontrollably distraught when they've lost their animals, and they prefer the company of animals to any human beings.
The wing mirror of the car clipped her bottom.
Yeah, I'll give you some details here. So the owner's name is Kimberly. She's from Castleford. The dog is all. I tell you what's interesting about the dog. It's a breed that people are always a bit rude about, the Staffies, because they're often involved in, they sometimes get into these stories where they attack people and so on. So it's a Staffy, and it seems as if the car, or it's more like a tank, that thing, had hit a traffic island and was going at 70, and the driver lost control. So there we go.
70 miles an hour in a residential area.
Right.
What was
I hope the police were involved.
And I bet that would have been a male driver.
Yes.
That's our earlier conversation.
Genuinely, I think with that, you have to take the car from the person. You say, I'm sorry, you can never use a car
I agree.
again.
Right.
And you turn it into a very small cube, and they're forced to have it in their front room.
A car is a lethal weapon in the hands of the wrong person.
Of course it is. Sky News. This is a great story. This is this. We have a lot of stuff where you'll get an advert on the tube line in London, and it says, "Have you got a beach body?" And there's a big row. It's not just us having this debate. So this is on Sky News, but it's basically a Spanish government campaign, and we'll have a look at a close up of that poster. And they say every woman's body is a beach body. So, Dawn, what do you think?
It's a great thing. I mean, we can all remember that, is your body beach body ready on the London tubes? This gorgeous woman in a bright yellow bikini looking, the actual stereotyped, perfect body. But this is a Spanish one, and it's really great. And it's launched by the country's Equality Ministry, and Summer is ours too. And as you can see from that poster, it features sort of like all sorts of women, including a lady who's topless that's had a mastectomy. So it's not just about your body size, it's about, different abilities and sort of like different sexualities. So it's very, very inclusive. And it's great. It's a lovely positive image about, go to the beach, don't feel ashamed of what you look like or anything to do with yourself. It's very inclusive, apart from there's no men in it.
Yeah.
I mean, men suffer this as well, don't you, Andrew?
Well, you say suffer. I mean, you can't walk around topless as a man if you've got 5 bellies. Well, they do, and they shouldn't.
And it's horrible.
And I don't want to see an advertising campaign that says, "Be proud of your many bellies."
And your boobs, your man boobs.
And I'm thinking about men here.
We wouldn't have this conversation about women. We wouldn't sit there and go, "Oh my God, look at her boobs are on her knees." That's me, by the way, I'm describing. We wouldn't have that conversation. Yet boys feel perfectly okay saying, "Look, beer bellies, put it away."
Well, Peter, where are you? Are we being unfair on men with enormous stomachs?
Yes, but when I saw the picture, I just thought of the old Blackpool postcards.
Oh, yeah.
Straight away.
Well, they still.
Hey, listen. The human body. We get one chance of this life. We should be able to enjoy ourselves. I fight my weight all my life, and it just makes me cross. It's a great picture. Get on with it.
It's lovely.
Oh, having said that, there's nothing worse than an old man in a G-string walking down the beach. It's horrible.
Oh, I remember Peter Stringflower.
I saw him in one of them.
Not good.
Yeah.
Not good. But the thing that's interesting about this story is, yes, of course, you don't want to be dismissive of any individual and the way they look. However, we do understand we are a very obese country. We're the fattest in Europe. We are eating the wrong things. We get ending up in hospital 10 years before we should. And somebody's got to be able to say that, but without getting into criticising individuals.
The other point I wanted to make as well, there are no men involved in this, obviously. It is a women's campaign, I get that. But there are no very, very skinny women either. And while fat shaming is completely wrong, encouraging people to be aware of obesity is not wrong, but also skinny shaming is not a good thing either, by the way. And there's no skinny women in this.
Oh, I see what you mean, overly thin.
Yeah.
Yeah, very good.
Yeah. Good point, good point. God, we've gone serious here. That's it for now. Don't go anywhere because the conversation continues after the break on Generally by Extra with Dawn.
Yes, we're here for more of your calls. I'll be joined by Yasmin Alibaya-Brown and Emma Wolf, and we'll be asking, have you lost faith in the NHS? We spoke about it a little earlier and saw some of those images of elderly patients stuck on trolleys, absolutely horrific in hospital corridors. The health service is coming under enormous pressure, as we have discussed, and so, but do you still trust, is the NHS working for you? Do you still trust it? Is it still a model that works, or is it broken? I really want to know what you think about a general strike as well. Honestly, we can have cheerful stuff. A general strike. Union bosses are threatening one if their powers are cut and anti-union laws brought in once a new Prime Minister takes over. So get your calls coming in now. 0207 862 2222 is the number, and I really want to hear from you.
So, Pete, what does the day hold for you?
I'm going to see some friends, and then I'm going to go out and do some gardening and look for some more bees.
Brilliant. That's a full day. Well, thank you very much indeed to Salia, Andrew and Pete for joining us. There we go. That was all the other stuff we needed to talk about, papers and everything else. And Dawn is back after this short break.